You clicked on this because you wanted a sign. So, let me give you one right now, before anything else. And I think it's going to surprise you, because it's more real than the one you were expecting. Have you noticed that you see people differently lately? That you read a situation faster than you used to? That's something which would have completely fooled you 2 years ago. A charming message, a smooth explanation. I can't. A man who says all the right things at exactly the right time just doesn't land the same way anymore. You catch the inconsistency. You feel the off before you can even put it into words. You don't talk yourself out of what you're sensing the way you used to. That is your sign. You clicked because you wanted God to show you Him. But what if the first thing God shows you is not a man? It's what you can finally see clearly. The first sign was never going to be His face. It was going to be your sight. Not a face appearing out of nowhere. Not a name in a dream. Your vision being healed. Because here is what almost no one will tell you about how God brings the right man into a woman's life. He doesn't start with the man. He starts with your eyes. Before God reveals who He is, He changes how you see. Revelation doesn't begin with a face. It begins with the veil lifting. And I need to say something gently to you, because I think you've been grieving the wrong thing. You've been telling yourself you got cynical, guarded, hard. That you lost the soft, open girl you used to be, and somewhere along the way, you've half mourned her. Hear me clearly. You didn't get cynical. You got your sight back. What you've been calling suspicion is discernment. What you've been calling too guarded is a veil coming off your eyes that should have come off a long time ago. You are not closing. You are clearing. Let me show you the strangest healing Jesus ever did. In Mark chapter 8, they brought Him a blind man at Bethsaida, and Jesus touched him, and the man could see, but not clearly yet. He said, I see men, but they look like trees walking, blurry shapes, forms without focus. And then Jesus touched him a second time, and now he saw everything clearly. Every face, every detail, sharp and true. 2 stages. First the blur, then the focus. Mark 8:22 through 25. That is exactly how revelation works, beloved. It doesn't arrive all at once. First, the shapes you start sensing things you can't fully name yet. Then, the focus you begin to see clearly what was hidden before. So if your sight feels like it's somewhere in between right now, like you're seeing more than you used to, but it isn't all sharp yet, that is not a problem. That is the first touch. The second one is coming. God is not done with your eyes. Here is the first thing that happens when God is opening your eyes to the right man. You stop being fooled by what you were once fooled by. God is opening your eyes to what is real versus what is performed. Think about the last time a message came in, charming, warm, timed perfectly, like He knew exactly when you'd be most open to receiving it. And younger you, the one you've been half grieving, would have melted, would have read it 3 times and started writing the story, but you didn't melt. Something quiet and certain came up. Instead, a small, clear no before you could even explain it. You read it twice and saw right through it. And then, strangely, you felt a little sad about how easily you saw through it. Like you'd lost something soft. Like clarity had a cost. That sadness is real. But hear me, what you felt wasn't the loss of your softness. It was the surprise of your own sight. You were not losing softness. You were getting your sight back. You didn't know you could see that clearly. God has been doing something in you, and you caught a glimpse of it, and it startled you. A man's words and a man's patterns no longer hold the same weight. You watch what he does over time, not just what he says in a single conversation. This is Matthew 7:16, Jesus saying, "By their fruits you shall know them." God is teaching you to see fruit where you once only saw presentation. The fog is lifting, and what you're seeing more clearly is the difference between what a person is and what a person wants you to think they are. And if right now you're watching this and thinking about a specific man, I want to protect you for a second. The sign I'm describing isn't a man, it's your sight. If this video has you deciding he's the one about someone you're already thinking about, please slow down. Healed eyes don't rush to verdicts. They take their time and they see clearly. The clearer your vision gets, the less you'll need to force a conclusion. Let the second touch finish before you decide what you're looking at. The second thing that happens, God is opening your eyes to counterfeits before they cost you. And I mean this beyond the men you're discerning for yourself. Picture this. A friend is telling you about the new man she's seeing. She's glowing. Everything sounds good, sounds right, sounds like what she's been praying for. And you're nodding along. You love her. You want this for her, but underneath the nodding, you already see it. The thing she can't see yet. The pattern that's familiar to you now, in a way it wasn't 2 years ago. The gap between what he says about himself and how he actually shows up in the small, unrehearsed moments. You can't explain it yet in words she'd be ready to receive. You just see it, clear as day, and you cannot unsee it. That is not negativity. That is not cynicism bleeding into someone else's story. That is your sight extending further than your own life. God using what he's been building in you to give you a wider, clearer field of vision. 1 John 4:1 says to test the spirits. God has been quietly teaching you how, not through lectures, but through experience, he's been redeeming in you. The fog burned away around certain patterns, and now they show up fast. That's not damage. That's wisdom that was paid for, and it belongs to you now. The third thing, and this one may be the most tender, God is opening your eyes to see people, not the ghost of who hurt you. Think about this carefully. He did something ordinary, arrived a little late, said something slightly clumsy, was quiet when you expected warmth, and you waited for the old alarm, the one your nervous system learned from the last one, the one that used to fire immediately, pulling you back or pushing you away before you'd even registered what actually happened. And it didn't come the same way. For one quiet, clear second, you saw him, the actual person standing in front of you, not the ghost, not the pattern from before, just him. That moment is sacred. It means something in you has begun to separate the past from the present. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "The things that are seen are temporary," and what Paul is reaching toward is this: the surface reading of a moment is never the whole truth. Healed sight goes deeper than the first impression, deeper than the old alarm, deeper than what fear tells you to see. God is opening your eyes to what is actually there, instead of filtering every person through the lens of the last wound. That is the second touch beginning to arrive. And it always comes in small, almost invisible moments before it comes completely. This is the order God works in, beloved. and almost no one tells you. He repairs your vision first. Then he shows you what you finally become able to see. The sign was never that you saw him yet. The sign was that you stopped seeing through the wound. If that one landed, if you know exactly what it's like to finally see a person instead of a ghost, stay with me all the way to the end. Because seeing clearly for one night is not the same as keeping your eyes open tomorrow when the old fog wants to roll back in. Before we're done, I'll show you where to take it. And I have to stop here and say something that matters more than anything else tonight. If your eyes are clear enough right now to see that a relationship you are in is not safe, that there is control or harm or fear, please don't let this message or anyone's message talk you into waiting for the second touch. Sight that shows you danger is sight you act on. Reach out to someone you trust, a pastor, a counselor, someone safe. Seeing it clearly was the gift. Acting on it is the obedience. The fourth thing that happens, God is opening your eyes to yourself. Honestly, gently, without condemnation. You catch yourself in the mirror, and for a second, the old story is there not enough, too much, too late. But lately, something corrects it. The blur clears, and you see a woman you actually respect. It's still in and out. Some days the fog rolls back, but it's clearing. And I want you to pause on that woman for a moment, because she didn't arrive here easily. She walked through something. She loved people who didn't love her back the right way. She made choices she would undo if she could. She waited longer than she thought she was capable of waiting. And she is still here, still praying, still becoming, still trusting a God she cannot always see clearly either. That woman in the mirror is not just someone you're learning to look at. She is someone worth seeing. God is not healing your vision of others while leaving your vision of yourself distorted. The veil lifts across everything, and learning to see yourself without the old lies is not vanity. It is preparation. You cannot see the right man clearly if you are still seeing yourself through a wound.